We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars Wrestling Show, episode 317. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us elsewhere on the screen is the one and only Mr. Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are you feeling tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right, considering. I wish I actually watched SmackDown this evening, especially after getting a certain message from a certain Scholar Charlie. Something he sent to us piqued my interest, especially with it beginning with or ending with "doll."
Okay.
A heartfelt moment, and I hate Ray. So
I do believe that was the best moment of SmackDown.
Yeah.
Speaking of heartfelt moments, also joining us this week, the current reigning, defending Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, the one and only, reporting live via satellite to his car, Mr. Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I was doing fine until the beginning of that intro. What the hell was that?
This is my sorry attempted improv. You should know this by now.
No heartwarming thoughts over here. Okay, no. The champion is sitting here in his car outside of his champion back cave. Okay, that's it. On location to talk about his perfect card at Full Gear. Also, the top of Scholar Rushmore. Okay, Scholar Brian and Scholar Tarek both having perfect cards at Full Gear. What were you two doing? Huh?
I was reliving my glory days of Capital Punishment.
Yeah, well, Capital Punishment was a perfect card for you, so you failed. You failed miserably. And on that note, the only reason you still have that one-on-one title shot after your performance the last few months, okay, is because I
allow it.
I allow it.
There, I got your back. I got your back, tech partner.
I make a promise. I follow it through. But here's the deal. Okay. You're owed a one-on-one. Obviously, Survivor Series is not going to be a one-on-one. It's a major pay-per-view. I'm defending against everybody. Okay? And get Jaybird on the horn since he won the party championship. Get him on this too. Okay? I want everybody. And once I win this, and once I win Survivor Series, okay, again, considering my perfect Survivor Series card last year, let's go for another. Okay, once I win again, Charlie, you get your one-on-one. Okay? And if you tie, or if you lose, okay, you never get a title shot if I'm a champion ever again.
Wait. If I tie or lose against you in my one-on-one, or if I tie or lose against you at Survivor Series?
Survivor Series is a lock. It's going to be another perfect card for me. Okay, that's it. But in our one-on-one, okay, if you tie or if you lose, if I walk out of that one-on-one as champion, okay, you never get another title shot as long as I'm champion.
During this run, or further title reigns down the line?
That's your last shot against me, the guy who took you out, the guy who made you lose the title in one match. Okay, you never get a shot against this guy ever again.
What say you, Scholar Charlie? He who takes. Do you accept the challenge or do you yield?
Listen, I'm not gonna yield to a challenge. I'm gonna accept it. Do I find it fair that the ruling is times infinity. If I'm champion ever, you're not allowed, poopy head. No, I think that's childish. But I will gladly accept your clauses, Sir Brian.
Just be happy. Hey, just be happy. Just be happy I didn't add in the mandatory tunnel defenses, okay? Just be happy that you still get those, okay? Because they're mandatory, all scholars have to be involved. If they weren't, you'd be out on the fucking curb somewhere.
We're not even 6 minutes in and we're already at Top Gear. Speaking of Top Gear,
have you seen their feud since Charlie became a scholar?
I've seen it. I've been born witness to it, but lately it just seems like we're just like, bam, we're going in there.
Not through introductions yet.
I had to like squeeze it in there.
Know I'm here.
I did like say that you're like, okay, Scholar Charlie, acceptor of challenges. That's trying to work that in there since we're all like
another lackluster introduction from Hefe Doodles. Thanks.
I do the best I can.
Scholar Charles. And
Scholar Charles.
I will say, at least Brian did acknowledge that me and him are just at the top of Scholars Mount Rushmore here. We are just the top scholars on this show. Because all we do is just constantly win. All we do are just constant winners. I was in the middle
of an introduction.
And I'm done playing
Scholar Charles. Brian, I am Scholar Charles. And I just accepted a horrible deal. However, I will be included in all-inclusive Scholars bets. And for that, I am happy. Now let's get on with this lovely evening.
You do not have have the position to tell us to shush, Mr. Not even an hour champion. And that's all you got to say about your accomplishments?
All right.
I was
gentlemen.
I was one match champion. Let it be.
Gentlemen, there's been a lot of wrestling to discuss. We're in the final stretch of Survivor Series. We have a lot to get to, and there's only one, as you all know, there's only one way to kick things off the right way on this show, and that is with a little bit of backstage news.
Indeed, we shall go ahead and peek behind that curtain and notice we are a little too late of seeing Charlie's one-match title reign and check in on a little.
Don't tell me what to do.
I didn't tell you what to do. Oh, you're talking about him.
Nah, like I think he's positioned. Like, what's the name of the segment?
Perfect card champion like this.
You already acknowledged that we both had perfect cards for Full Gear.
I was talking to Jeff. He doesn't tell me what to do.
Oh. I'm just going with the flow, sir.
All right.
Brian,
someone's got to direct what this show.
We discussed telling each other what to do. We love each other. We're the Scholars tag team here. You're one accomplishment away of joining me in the amazing ranks of Undisputed Scholar.
If nobody's noticed, I did the thing, so you're slacking.
News.
Yeah, news. Yeah. Yeah. Off the rails promos, meh. Yeah. Anyway.
Still lonely on top of the mountain. Yeah.
All right.
Waiting for Brian, reaching out as far as I can. Win that Royal Rumble game, Brian. Win that Royal Rumble game. Join me up here, and together we will just be continuously dominant over Scholars of Wrestling.
Well, I'm glad Tarek's happy.
Somewhere in the world, Celine Dion is compelled to sing. But in the meantime, we have a lot to talk about because it's backstage news time. And apparently, according to AEW Games, it's time to announce some games. 3 games to be exact. First off, the AEW video game has been announced to be in development from the same director and creators of WWF No Mercy, which is what everyone has wanted this entire time. Plus, There's also 2 games for mobile coming up in the very near future. AEW Elite GM, a GM simulator, and Casino Double or Nothing, a casino title, which somehow seems on brand for AEW. Gentlemen, I'm turning it over to you. Did you catch any of this press release or the announcement thereof? And which of these games intrigue you? And which ones do not? Or do all of them catch your eye? Fielding it to you guys.
Honestly, all right, the actual video game that they showed, okay, it's I like the way they were talking about it. I need to see more. I need to, because you can talk about it being No Mercy like all you like and all that. I do like that they got the guy who was the head of No Mercy to head the development of the game. So I like that, but obviously it's in the rough stages, so I can't. I'm excited, but it's a wait and see kind of deal. The general manager game, I assume that it's more like the simulators that you play online instead of like the general manager mode from the SmackDown games, like the Total Extreme Wrestling and the simulators that you'd buy and play online. You'd set up the matches and whatever, and you'd play your own booker and all that deal. I figure it's more like that. So that used to take up my summers. Just me being a wrestling booker. So I think I'm actually kind of more excited for that than anything else, to be completely honest. And the casino game, it's a mobile game. What can you say? It's got to be one of those. Well, that was a thing. That was a thing that I played.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. I'm mildly interested in the casino game just to see what AEW does with it. But as far as, again, the No Mercy next step of that, whatever you want to call it, is probably going to be the start of the show once it actually looks like it's about ready to come out. But I'm right there with you. I'm very potentially interested in what this GM app thing for AEW could be, the Elite GM. I'm hoping that there's some sort of PvP element or like some sort of group league that you can do. Because I'll tell you this right now, if there's like some sort of league mode or like some sort of PvP thing, I can see us all getting in on that and making like a Scholars of Wrestling league, if such a thing is possible. But again, that's just my early opinion. Scholar Charlie, did you happen to catch any of this? And if so, initial thoughts.
I'm psyched for the console game because when was the last time that we had 2 brands put out annual wrestling games? Well, if 2K cleans up their act. But
I believe it was TNA Impact.
Yeah.
That's the only one I can think of.
But yeah, I'm psyched that it's the same producer of No Mercy. That gives it hope. I saw the launch trailer, and yeah, for an announced trailer, it was a good hype package. They're obviously going to tweak the graphics and everything when it actually comes out, but for what it was, it got me excited, so I'm ready for it.
And Scholar Tarek, initial thoughts on the earliest stages in the AEW games?
I would look forward to the AEW console game if it had the exact same graphics as No Mercy. If it looked just
complete with 1998 polygons.
No voices, just those little word bubbles while they're all just
fantastic.
And then during like the Royal Rumble mode, instead of them you see them at a distance running, it's just extreme close up to each wrestler just to see their goofy faces as they're running into the ring. Oh, wait a minute. Was that WrestleMania 2000?
They both had it.
They both had it.
Okay. Just when I heard it from the same people who did No Mercy, I'm just like, so is it going to look like the N64 game?
But
Will it
it's
have
gotta
like
be on the
finisher?
It's got to be on PS5, but the people want N64 graphics. We got to do it. That's it.
They could probably even do that as like a DLC pack, like low polys. Just
something similar to the big head modes in GoldenEye and N64.
you can't tell me Kenny Omega wouldn't be like, yeah, put in a big head mode, put in a low poly mode.
To make it like a Grand Theft Auto cheat.
Yeah,
exactly.
Come on, Kenny Omega is that much of a weeb. They would totally go for something like that.
And as for the GM, I kind of in the same like mindset as Jeff. Are they going to have like just like a PvP? Because other than that, just like, oh, you're just basically entertaining yourself with it. I see a kind of a mix of that plus what Brian said is going to be like the SmackDown in the SmackDown games, that GM mode could be a mixture of both, and just expand to see, okay, I like this guy's story. I like how this guy's storyline went. Oh, I like how this guy's storyline went. This is maybe they'll even use it as like, oh, you know what? I like your storyline. I'd like to buy it and put it and actually make it on a storyline on TV. Like secret plot behind AEW.
Yeah, right.
Outsource booking decisions.
Outsource booking decisions. Outsource storylines. Imagine that'd actually be pretty neat. But that's just me thinking out of my ass.
You do realize that I'm going to be peering over that terms and conditions page with like a fine-tooth comb, like looking for the clause that says we have full right to use any and all booking decisions and storylines that you use, and we will not compensate you in any way.
We ain't found shit.
We ain't sound shit. But anyway, so I guess my Scholar's Quick Talk that I was going to mention before, if there is multiplayer in any of these, if there is multiplayer on any of the mobile games, can we count on a Scholars of Wrestling League forming anytime soon?
I'd be all in.
I see what you did there.
Bad puns, boo. Bad puns, boo.
I don't know. I think I kind of walked into that one, but hey, that says more about me.
You walk into a lot of things when it comes to the Scholar School.
Oh, you have no idea. But speaking of walking into things, unfortunately, we do have some sad news to report. It was announced just earlier today that one Thea Trinidad, aka Zelina Vega, has been released by WWE. I know I sent you guys the photo off air, or the screen cap rather. It was this most bizarre thing. Maybe not even 15 minutes after Zelina Vega tweeted her support for unionization, maybe 15 minutes later, or possibly less, WWE announced her release, which led to some early thoughts that she had been released for that reason. But some later qualifications said, anyway, Brian, take us through it.
Yeah, here's the timeline for. She was actually told about her release earlier this afternoon. But, okay, she being the savvy internet person that she is, okay, decided to get her final words in before WWE got did the future endeavors. So she had been told earlier today, then she put the tweet out, and then about 10 minutes later, the WWE put their tweet out. But there had been some, from what I understand, just reading into it further, okay, she had been talking to that Andrew Yang.
Mm-hmm.
she'd been one of the ones talking to him about his views on the unionization and all that. And there had been some bad blood going back and forth. Apparently, Aleister Black last week asked to go back to NXT, and and Vince said no. And then Zelina Vega has been big, has up there with Paige on the Twitch thing, man. It's been her, Paige, and AJ as like the top three that aren't up, down, down on Twitch. So that whole thing. And then over the weekend, she did that OnlyFans cosplay thing. So she was basically asking to be let go at that point. She just didn't care anymore. They took away her Twitch. She makes more on Twitch, I think, than she does on the E. So that she did on the actual her actual contract.
Damn.
So it's like you're trying to take all that money. Okay. You're not using me in anything important. Not really. So it's like I make more money doing what I'm doing than working for you. So it just seems like everything that's been going on this last week has been like her basically asking to be fired. And then when she got the news that she basically had, that's when she put that tweet out. Which made the timing suspicious. It made people think, like, it made WWE look worse than they actually are in this case. Because from what I understand, she was basically asking for it at that point. So they gave her what she wanted. She put that out, and then they put out their future endeavors tweet, and the internet went nuts. That's it. And good marketing, because on SmackDown, okay, the subs on her Twitch were just out of control. Like, just watching the Twitch, okay, she was getting emotional because just like, I think she got like 14,000 new subs.
Wow, good for her.
So it's like, hey, do what you got to do to make your money. And if you're gonna be happier doing the Twitch thing in the long run, they weren't using you the way you should have been used after the whole breakup. Okay, after the whole tag team breakup, they weren't using you right. Okay, they're fucking with your man. Okay, that's it. They won't let him go do what he wants to do. They're not letting you do what you want to do. Okay, make sure that he's good in his position and then get the hell out.
Brian, Tarek, initial thoughts, reactions to the fate of Zelina Vega.
It's really just more of the just continuing downfall of just my confidence in WWE management, backstage, the corporate side of things. Just letting it's just more continuing, just adding more sour taste of just of showing why people really hate this company. Just doing whatever they really want at the cost of their talent. I mean, yeah, we know that Zelina Vega, like what Brian said, she now is gaining more money she's gained more money on Twitch than she's ever done in WWE. And WWE is trying their best to basically take that away from her and good portion of their roster who feel like that they're not getting enough screen time on the actual show, so they got to find other ways to do it. So, yeah, it's really coming to that point where it literally looks like it's going to be Andrew Yang versus Dana White, Vince McMahon, just basically these company heads to just think that they can do whatever they want with their talent. Especially like, oh, they're independent contractors, but we're basically doing whatever we want with them, because it's like, but we're treating them like if they're actual employees.
Charlie, immediate thoughts, reactions to the whole Zelina Vega situation.
The way I see it is she got what she wanted, and she's going to be another one to step up and stick it to Vince. She's going to make more money on her own, and she's not out of wrestling. You know, you're going to see her down the line. This is just what she wants for now. I'm all for that.
All right. So before we move on, another quick Scholars Quick Talk for the whole lot of us. Real quick, Scholars Quick Talk. Do you think, at the rate things are going, that professional wrestling will ever unionize? Yes or no?
So. I hope so.
I feel like there's two trains of thought, because you have the Alexa Bliss train of thought, who's perfectly fine with what's going on right now, because she's not really on the Twitch thing, so she doesn't really know. And then you have the people like Zelina Vega, you have the Paige, you have the AJ Styles, you have the Adam Coles when he comes up. When he comes up to the E, he's not going to be able to do his Twitch thing anymore. Okay, it's the whole thing. I understand the WWE's point of view with the Twitch thing. Okay, your name is trademarked under WWE. Okay, you can't using a trademarked name to make money for yourself. I get it. Okay, but it's a dick move. It's bad business, because you're alienating the people who are working for you, and we knew it was going to come someday. Okay, someone wasn't going to be able to take it anymore. Okay, that's it. And I think this is just the beginning. Once it starts, the dominoes are going to fall.
When they said that when it's under the wrestler's name, yes, that it's easy to understand where WWE is coming from. But when Vince was throwing this, like even adding like, oh, I even own your real names, is when you're just thinking, no, you're outside your mind, old man.
Yeah, I can't use it. If he had allowed like Thea, if he had allowed Thea to run Twitch or whatever, just keep Zelina Vega out of it. Just be Thea on the Twitch, then it would have been fine. But then he was like, no. Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad, I own it all. You can't be on Twitch. You can't be on. Twitch isn't allowed. Doesn't matter if you use your real name or your stage name. Anybody could have told you, buddy, no. Stage name, yes. Real name, fuck off. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
All right. Well, I think we've had enough somber discussion for at least tonight. So let's switch over to a different gear, some AEW full gear, because at least it seems like this show was universally praised by most of the voices that I've seen. Brian, Charlie, I believe you said that both of you were able to catch this one live. So I guess we'll start off with you. Immediate reactions to the show, highlights. Give us something. What'd you think?
Brian, you can start.
Okay.
Jeb.
I honestly thought that as a whole, The pay-per-view has been the best one that they did since the first Double or Nothing. As a whole, a mixture of everything, whatever. There was nothing here that absolutely sucked. You've always had something on the other shows where you were like, no, I don't think that needed to be here. That was sloppy. Didn't like it. This, you had some slow matches. You had the women's match could have been better. Okay, but there was nothing here that was out and out bad. I mean, Elite Deletion was at least absurdly amusing.
It was a little awkward, but it was amusing.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I'm like, the problem with the Elite Deletion, in my eyes, was like you would have had to follow the Broken Universe since Impact, since the beginning, to get some of the references. Because in the first deletion match was when Gangrel abducted Hurricane, and they brought it back in this match. That was that whole thing. It's like
okay. Lost reference for me.
Yeah,
me too.
I've been abducted for 2 years. What have you been doing, man?
I just saw Gangrel on my TV for the first time since like 2000 and marked out. So
I was gonna say I love Gangrel. That's all I cared about.
So
vampires.
So that was like at least there was nothing here that I didn't find entertaining. Okay, you had some great stuff, which I would put Omega Page, Bucks FTR, and Moxley Kingston. Okay, I put those three as the cream of the crop of the show, and then the rest was they did good in spacing everything out, so that's the problem I have with the E and all that. They don't space everything out, so it's like you get all the main event stuff at one time. Okay, and on AEW shows, it's like it's spaced out, so you have room in between the great stuff and the good stuff, which in my mind was I said Jericho and MJF was good. It wasn't great.
What about the crossroads off the top rope? Come on, man.
And I love that was good. Okay. 4 matches.
On the night. Come on.
4 matches. 4 matches.
I was just thinking to myself,
I was like, when you didn't mention Darby and Cody, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I was waiting for someone to say that. I was waiting for someone to mention Darby Cody.
It's understood at this point that you see Darby Allin on a TV screen and it's a car crash. But put Cody in there with him, that spot blew my mind. Like, whoa. Like, for the night, I was just, boom.
I'm not certain that Cody could have pulled that off with anybody else.
Oh, absolutely not. Darby is the daredevil he needed for that.
Yeah. So I would give Full Gear a solid full beard.
Full gear.
I'm not gonna go
face
because I didn't see anything that knocked my socks off. It was just it was a solid show, which based off of other pay-per-views, it's like, yeah, I would go high full beard. I especially I like the psychology of the ending to the Bucks FTR match. It's one of those, the one time FTR tries to do flip stomp fists, and that's what
doesn't work.
That's what cost them the. That's what cost them the titles, and the storyline behind Kingston and Moxley. Okay, it of course people are like, oh, last year was the unsanctioned Omega Moxley match, and holy shit, that must have been crazy. This is going to be up there too. It didn't need to be. It got what it needed to get across, and I think the way that they made him quit was he had barbed wire digging into his throat, man.
Yeah.
I quit too.
Well, we all.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but here's the problem. Moving on from Full Gear quickly, just to I said it on Twitter. Okay, I understand why they're doing Omega Moxley on a Dynamite. Okay, I once thought that it was an easy time to change the title. Put it on Omega, whatever. But now that it's on a Dynamite, okay, I'm no longer certain. I'm like, there are ways now that they can get out of changing the title and still holding it until the pay-per-view. Like, first ever world champion time limit draw.
Interesting.
Okay. You can do a swerve and have Hangman be the one who turns. And cost Kenny Omega. It's one of those. I'm not certain if AEW. This is me calling out AEW. Do you have the guts? I understand the TNT title. It should change hands on TNT. It's the TNT title. It should change hands on a Dynamite kick. We've already stated this. It's the way that it should be. Yeah, Darby Allin won on pay-per-view, but it's the same thing as WCW's TV title. But do you have the balls to have your third AEW champion become champion on Dynamite King?
Well, we may not get a immediate answer to that one, but Charlie, I was just going to pitch that over to you. Before we move on, your match of the night for the show and final beard ratings overall for AEW Full Gear.
I don't know what I can choose as the match of the night, but like I said, I feel like the match types were all over the place, and that's what kept my attention for so long. I did love Darby Cody. I loved the balls to the wall action that had. I loved the I Quit match. I obviously loved MJF versus Jericho. So for an AEW event, it was so much better than the last couple. As much as I should be disagreeing with this guy, Brian, I gotta give it a 4 out of 5 full beard. That spot was greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, it's like, raise your hand if you might not walk out of here alive tonight. Okay, come do this spot. It was everything those two needed to put the big exclamation point. I also agree that at the same time that the TNT title should be on Dynamite Kick, but they're building a star with Darby. I know some are opposed to that, but I can't get enough of them. So that's going to be my match of the night. And like I said, 4 out of 5. Full gear.
All right. Now, going from a...
Don't you roll your eyes at me, Tarek.
He's not out. Somehow, I don't think he's rolling his eyes at you per se. More
no,
about...
No. I'm rolling my eyes at him for...
Okay, I stand...
for full geared. Yeah. No. That was just silly.
I stand corrected. Anyway... Speaking of eye rolling, Speaking of eye rolling, we were talking about this. Maybe we did bring it up last week, but I know we were definitely talking about this quite extensively off air with you, Fool. We're talking about the build or lack thereof to Survivor Series. Survivor Series is next week. There's a prediction show coming. But Fool, you were talking a little bit about how you're just feeling underwhelmed by this show, this build in particular, or just the way Survivor Series has been going lately. Break it down for us. What are your thoughts on Survivor Series lately?
Well, first of all, I also give Full Gear 4 out of 5. I'll just throw that out.
Unanimous. All right.
I didn't watch it live, but I did watch it. So, and my match of the night was FTR versus the Bucks. And yeah, and just to Charlie, I am one of those people who just I don't see the immediate star power of Darby Allin.
I know.
I will agree though, that
cool.
was an awesome spot. I will agree that was an awesome spot. But the whole Cody handing over the belt like that, was that really necessary? But I thought that was extremely corny. I'm just like, just let Darby hold the belt by himself. He doesn't need the approval of Cody. Yeah. I just feel like it's just more. It's like, oh, you are this amazing, amazing person. That was my response.
That's it.
If I may, go back. You have a podcast app on your phone, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to a Talk Is Jericho with Darby Allin on it, and you'll see how cool of a dude he is. He's awesome.
I'm not doubting that the man behind Darby is a great guy. No doubt in my mind. You can say that for most of the wrestlers, especially the ones that you despise as character, like Baron Corbin. I hate the character, but the guy is awesome.
You'll hear stuff on that podcast, and you'll be like, "What?" it's
just the character I'm not sold on.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's just the character. It's nothing against the people.
I get it.
But okay, now back to the initial segue of Jeff's Survivor Series. It's not really that it's the build that's been bothering me. It's just really the presentation of it. It's just basically them taking bragging rights and just putting that as a blanket on Survivor Series. And I will say, when it comes to at least the Raw side of things, I like the AJ Styles Survivor Series team build that they're doing. It's actually it got quite a few chuckles out of me, and I'm actually happy that they actually acknowledge Matt Riddle as kind of this badass, especially after his presentation against Sheamus a couple weeks back. And now he's added to the team. It's just my real problem with Survivor Series. Like, there's many people who are out there in the internet wrestling community who have their own shows, their podcasts or whatnot, just talking about how much Survivor Series is such a dead concept. And in certain ways, I kind of see where they're going for, but to immediately shut it down is just, oh, yeah, I don't give a shit about this pay-per-view. Again, I can see where they're coming from, but it's just the people at WWE like it. It's just the only problem that they have with this is that they're not really doing anything to spice it up. Instead of just making this a Raw versus SmackDown pay-per-view literally less than a month after their draft, which people have pointed out that 4 out of like a good portion of the Raw team are former SmackDown guys. So it's like, oh yeah, that's something to really point out. That's just throwing the draft so late in the year. That's just nitpicky, but I digress. If they were just about to do a Raw versus SmackDown theme, just have it be for the Survivor Series match. If anything, don't have champion versus champion storylines. I mean, if you look at the Raw side, you have the Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt versus The Miz. They can at least build something to that for the pay-per-view and just have the Survivor Series be the Raw versus SmackDown story. And have just stipulations. since they're having these Survivor Series matches be the best of the brand, add a stipulation that it's not just about brand supremacy. That's stupid, especially when most of the people on the team are new guys from the other brand. So, if anything, like just add a stipulation to. So if you guys want to, if whoever's on the winning side of the Survivor Series team can fight each other. Let's say if there's a lone survivor, they get a title opportunity. If there are multiple people, have them fight each other for a title opportunity. Just have something that more than just a brand supremacy, just for them wanting to win. Have them basically fight for something.
That's my problem with the whole thing. It's champion versus champion, team versus team. It's all well and good, but what are the stakes?
There are none, and that's the problem.
There needs to be stakes. The problem is there is no stakes. Like I was reading on, I saw somebody have an idea of the winning team gets put into a ladder match for their brand's title. Okay, they all get the opportunity for a shot. Okay, I'm like I'd be down for that. There's stakes in that. It's not just it's not just bragging rights, because what do they do with those bragging rights for the rest of the year? They don't do anything.
They don't do anything with that.
It's like, and then you've got the Asuka versus Sasha Banks. Okay, how many times have we seen that this year? Okay,
it's not even just. They're like the only champion versus champion match that seems to have anything going for is Sami Zayn talking about comparing the United States Championship with the Intercontinental Championship, and yeah, he's absolutely right.
And then even
comparing belts,
and then but it's the same thing. It's like, it's all well and good having champion versus champion matches and champion versus champion feuds, but if there's nothing coming out of that and you're just having a match, why should I care?
And the worst part is, that the final match on the card, even though it's not bragging rights, even though there's not a prize or anything, is going to be a tiebreaker between the two brands. You know that they're going to have Raw win XYZ and SmackDown win their share of matches, and then the main event will be,
unless they just go
that imaginary scorecard that nobody cares about.
Unless what, Brian?
Unless they just go fuck it like 2 years ago and have one brand just sweep everything.
I was gonna say there have been times where, maybe not necessarily a full sweep, but there have been some years where one brand has definitely prevailed over the other.
Yeah,
so there is a good precedent at the very least.
But they don't acknowledge that once the show. Exactly. Literally, they may acknowledge it like the week after the show, but after that, it's over. But like with Brian's, what the person said, have it be a ladder match. If anything, don't have all the team. Have it be the people who weren't eliminated, the people who actually are the survivors of Survivor Series, be the one going for the belt, because they proved to be more worthy of being top brand, the best of their shows, of the best of both brands.
Yeah, but it just goes that either way, okay, there'd be more of a stake. There'd be more reason for me to give a shit about what I'm watching than either with what Tarek said or with what I said or what Charlie said or what anybody's brought up. It will give me more reason to care about what I'm watching if something like that was on the line. If there was a legit story between Sasha Banks and Asuka, if there was a legit story between Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley that wasn't Bobby Lashley's sister, if there was a legit story between Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, or Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, whatever happens on Monday. Okay, I'd be more interested in what Survivor Series has become. Instead, it's just like it's specifically a event to go over to Scholar Jeff's place and have a good time. I don't really care about what I'm watching while I'm there. That's it.
I just don't. I also just hate the fact that pretty much the storylines that I actually am invested in is being booked on the Go Home show. I mean, I would love to see like this not the street, the New Day versus the Hurt Business on the pay-per-view instead of on the Go Home show for the tag titles. I don't want to see Street Profits versus the New Day. Hell, I want to see them actually do something with the tag team division on SmackDown. Hell, like I said, I didn't watch SmackDown this week. Did Street Profits do anything? Tag team
segment with them and Big.
Yeah, there was sort of a trash talking segment between them and Big E where they're talking about like, oh yeah, we're the New Day is handing out pancakes, we're handing out L's, and like, no, New Day is going to go down as the greatest tag team of all time, yada yada. Like there was some build, but it wasn't like a full on match or whatever. At least not this week.
At least the New Day actually have a storyline going on their brand when the Street Profits have absolutely nothing. Hell, even Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley have absolutely nothing. Sammy's been talking, and Bobby Lashley's been taking out, I don't know, Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, and that's a problem every year because
I don't know why it's striking me as funny.
They have these storylines going into Survivor Series, and on Survivor Series, you're not going to see any of those storylines. None of them. Okay, you're not going to see anything with the Fiend and the Miz. You're not going to see anything you're not going to see any of that extra stuff. You're not going to see
Fiend with Taker.
The New Day. Remember Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose? When Seth Rollins was going up against Shinsuke Nakamura, we were all convinced that Dean Ambrose was going to come in and ruin it. And no, this was during that Raw Domination one where they won everything except the match on the pre-show, which WWE didn't count.
So bad.
So it just proves that, yeah, they're running these storylines on the main show, but when we get to Survivor Series, none of them are going to show up. Oh, and just
like I said,
Lana's the sole survivor of the women's tag. What are you going to do then?
Put Lana through a table.
Again. Yeah. Hey, at least that does sort of qualify as a long-term story. We don't know where it's going, but it's
a long-term spot. It's not a long-term story.
Well, I beg to differ with you, because now when last time Lana came out to the ring, now she's just like, it looks like she's like suffering from like PTSD or something like that. It's just like seriously, she tenses up. It's like it's breaking her. Like something's got to give at some point. Whether that's
She's just walking around the ring, I am the table. Ah!
Yeah, either she's going to be the first one eliminated, or she's going to be like a complete dominant force. Like, I don't care about tables, rah.
She's the sole survivor. I'm calling it now.
I don't know.
She's going to be the sole survivor. Just watch.
Oh, yeah.
And then she goes through another table.
She's going to be they have been booking her as this accidental winner that always just seems to win.
I'll be damned.
Might as well just put that prediction down for next week. It's going to be the Raw team winning with Lana being the sole survivor accidentally.
They've been building it up too hard. Accidentally winning and then Nia Jax putting her through a table every week.
No, Nia Jax is going to put her through a table during the match, some stupid shenanigans, and then whoever's going to be like the final person on Team SmackDown who thought they win, Nia Jax is going to be the last person eliminated. She's going to take her out, and Lana is just like, where am I? Oh, crawls over, pins him 1, 2, 3. That's
No way.
That's how they did. That's how they did it with when she won the #1 contender match.
I know.
Oh,
They're booking it so Lana is gonna get this big victory at Survivor Series.
oh. But then again, now it seems like we're getting into next weekend, the big prediction show. So yes, hopefully the go home build will be everything that we're looking for and more. Hopefully it'll bring our spirits up, or at the very least, I hope, get us really hyped up for the big prediction show, a big title defense. All the belts are going to be on the line. It's going to be great.
I mean, to be fair, I'm looking forward to the potential idea of Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, then Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
as long as they let Drew be this Drew and not the Drew that was WrestleMania Drew when Drew went up against Roman Reigns then. If they let him be world champion Drew McIntyre and have him go up against Roman Reigns, that could be big.
Well, there's only one way we're going to find out for sure. Yes, any final thoughts on the build to Survivor Series?
Miz is going to cash in on the go home Raw, and we're going to have Roman Reigns versus the Miz.
Okay, on that happy note.
That's the match everyone wants to see.
Happen, okay? Here's what's gonna happen.
Anyway, moving on.
Randall and Drew are gonna go at it and pillar to post stuff, right? Randall is gonna be on his last breath, and he's gonna beat Drew McIntyre, and then Mrs. Music is gonna play. Reminiscent going into was it going into Survivor Series when he cashed in?
I think so,
yep,
yeah.
Reminiscent of going into Survivor Series, and Randy is going to be dying. Miz comes up, locks it in, new champ again.
Angry Miz Girl is going to be on one of the TVs.
Absolutely, and then Miz will make Roman Reigns Angry Miz Girl.
You know how likely that is? That's about as likely as you beating me for the championship.
Well, hand it over, man.
Oh.
You didn't know?
Your last bit
Just
of
better
call?
call somebody. And on that happy note, I think you officially know what we think after all that. But now is the time where you know as much as we need to. But now is where we're turning it over to our listening audience. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think of the build of Survivor Series? How are they really going to bring it home? And what do you think of AEW games and what's next for Zelina Vega? No matter what you think, we want to hear from you on all accounts. So wherever you are all across the internet, Facebook posts, YouTube comments, our personal favorites, the Twitter machines, we want to hear from you, especially on Twitter, starting at ScholarsOW, our main account for all the latest episode uploads every single week. And, of course, you can always join us on our personal Twitter accounts for a more personal conversation.
Bitch.
Yes, bitch.
No, I said son of a bitch because my cup has been, refusing to give me my clear liquid.
I thought you were just calling either me or our audience a bitch, so...
No.
I'll take that hit. I don't care.
Cup that's just refusing to let the water escape and feed, and just so I can drink it.
All right.
Get that clear liquid, sir.
Oh, it's delicious.
So, Fool, if they want to exchange words with you, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at the Avataric.
Champ Brian, where can they reach you?
You can reach me feeding off the buzz of a perfect prediction card and being way too cocky about it at Atomic Beautiful.
I totally get that. It is a very good high.
Charlotte was too busy making comedic motions to hear the last bit of that statement, so I'll let him watch it back later and see.
Yeah. Yeah, Charlie, if people want to join you with snuggling with your blanket and going nap, where can they reach you?
You gotta love it. You gotta know you guys are appreciated when I stay up far past my bedtime. You can reach me at Charlene.
I'm feeling the love, Charlie. I'm feeling the love. And if you want to feel the love too, join me at I'm Robbie Rage. Join the conversation. It's always a good It's always a good time. Shut up, Tarek.
It is
Then again, it's a good name. It's a good game. It's a good thing. It's a good lucha thing. But you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. See you next week for Survivor Series.
And all